so we're gonna have our last presenter, so we can go ahead and let you guys get out of here. I know it's gotten late, but we thoroughly enjoyed having you all here. We're gonna have our last presenter. It's gonna be Mr. Fleming Slone, the founder of Autonomous Agent AI Consulting. Please give it up one time for Mr. Fleming Slone. Thank you.
This isn't normally what I do, so I'm not going to be as good as Edie. But before I get into it, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. This is our first one of these meetups, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But we're definitely trying to have these every month. We've got them scheduled for the rest of the year. So y'all come back out, and hopefully this will continue to grow. Also, special thanks to Curtis for hosting tonight. And thanks again to Tim and Edie for speaking. And then you may also have seen him floating around with the camera, but we've got Luke Carter in the back. Luke is with Atlanta News First here in town, if y'all follow Atlanta News First, and is fresh off of a Moro? I'm gonna murder this.
It was a Murrow, but
Murrow.
it doesn't matter. I didn't use AI.
Murrow Award and an Emmy 2 weeks ago. Didn't use AI, but might be for the next one. So yeah, thank y'all for making this happen. I was gonna talk a little bit about how we ended up here and how I used AI for that. And I'm also gonna be showing, this is the Claude Desktop software. And so if you're not as much of a technical person, you know, and it's like you wanna get in on some of the stuff and it's like, oh, you know, how can I use Claude Code? You know, it's like I don't use the terminal or whatever else. It's like, this is the way right here. You get this Claude Desktop software, you know, and you can access pretty much, you know, most of these things that we're talking about here tonight. It'll even work on your phone, you know, if you don't have a laptop available. You don't get Cowork on your phone, but everything else. And so what I was gonna show is how this group came to be and how I used AI to kind of make that happen, right? And so on April 15th, which would be like, what, 45 days ago, right? It's like I got this email and it was like, hey, you remember that AI group that you went to like a year and a half ago? It's like, that guy disappeared. You know, it's like, we don't know what happened to him. It's like, you want to take over an AI group, right? And so like, I had just bought this house like earlier this year. So it's like, I had all this space. It's like, hell yeah. You know, it's like, let's have AI meet up. And so I was like, how am I going to do this and work a full-time job and all this other stuff, right? And so of course, the answer is AI. And so what, I know a lot of people here are familiar with Claude Code. Just to show of hands, like how many people are programmers, would you say? So about kind of like half the room, something like that. So especially if you're not a programmer, I would recommend this. And so what this is like, Cowork is this feature from Anthropic, you know, available in the software, that can kind of go off and do like tasks that you ask it, like while you're working on something else, right? And so you can see like here, just in my recent history, right, where I've had it like going out and finding me, you know, volunteer opportunities, like here it like went and found my friend like a wedding gift, you know, and things like that. It's like, you know, I need to do all this stuff. It's like, but I'm, you know, working a full-time job. And so it's like, let me just, you know, send this out. And so what this will actually do is it'll automate the browser. So just like a user, you know, would go in and click around and like find things in a menu, you can have this software do it, right? And so like I don't ever go like hunt in menus and, you know, that stuff drives me crazy basically. And so this is like a godsend to me. But here you can see it's like we've scheduled an entire year worth of these events, right? And so it's like once I took over this group, it's like I just had that Cowork feature in Claude go out and make all of these events, right? And so it basically developed like a full schedule for the year. You know, it put details in there. It's been, you know, sending y'all messages, you know, with updates and things like that. Like I didn't, I checked some of it, but like, that was basically all Cowork doing that. And so here, yeah, so all this, it's like the logo, obviously. Yeah, but it's like basically everything you see here, was AI generated. And it's like, I think, people talk about the negative aspects of AI, but it's like, I think it's important to recognize some of the positive aspects too, because it's like, without this, like this group, we basically wouldn't be here tonight. It's like I wouldn't have had the time to do all this. And so it's like, that's one thing, that I look to. It's like, oh, it is creating community, by allowing, people to accomplish more. At the same time, kind of consider now how easy it is to, create events and, here's, websites and all such as this, right? It's like a bad actor could be doing the same thing, right? Creating all the same stuff that we're using for good, could obviously be used for bad. But as part of this, it's like, well, we got this new group now. It's like, we need a website, right? And so like here, oh, and by the way, like I'm a front end developer of like 20 years, right? Like that's what I do by trade, it's like building websites like this, right? And so before, how long do you think this would take you? Like, at least a couple weeks or something.
Yeah,
like,
a couple
a designer would have to design this. It's like, basically this was done in an afternoon, so it's like now there's a full, website. It's got like an integrated schedule, where it's running a worker in the background, and so it's like in one afternoon, all of a sudden, fully professional website. And so then I got a little carried away and I made a website for the house too, so now the house is called Fleming. And so, yeah, just having fun. But, there again, it's like, well, we need Patreon, right? And so it's like, have the AI go out, make us Patreon. And so you can become Sam's side piece for only $50 a month.
Wait, is he paying me $50 a month, or?
I mean, once he can cash in his options, then maybe, but until then, you're gonna have to pay us $50 a month. And not reports for copyright infringement. But yeah, so, this is just like one example, right? But it's like, I basically kind of run my life, with this. Now, it's like I went and got a haircut, that it's like I just went and co-work, and some people, I don't know where Petite went, but like talking about Hermes and things like that, some people, are automating a lot of this stuff, but it's like if you don't want full automation, that it's like you want to still be able to like go in and like book appointments, it's like I just pull up, Cowork, or you can do this in Claude Code too if you're more familiar with that, but for someone that's not as technical, it's like you can just pull up Cowork and it's like, hey, I need these groceries from Sam's Club, right? And so that's like one thing I've been doing is like, it places my Sam's Club order and I just go like pick it up, right? And so I think the implications of this, are pretty interesting, because it's like now it is freeing up my life and, allows me to accomplish so much more, but at the same time, we're officially doing the AI's bidding, right? And so just interesting things to think about there. But there again, just some more examples of just like stuff I've done over the last month, right? And so here's one of these horrible dashboards that Edie was talking about that you definitely shouldn't push to production, and I've never done anything like that. But here you can see that it's like in this network of sites, like through Autonomous Agent, which is like my consulting side business, we're running 21 sites, right? And so it's like we actually have most of this, automated to like, send us like downtime alerts and things like that, but then to also go out and like address potential problems, as well. So it's like if it, the system determines the site is down, it can actually autonomously go out, and attempt to fix that on its own. And so then, and I'll just kind of end on this. This is more of a technical piece from the last month for me as a developer. But here, is a phone booking agent, right? And so like what this is like you can call up, my business, and it's like an AI voice that'll talk to you and all such as this, right? Uses like Twilio and things like that. But what's really impressive about this system is this was built and then QA fully autonomously. It's like I never like wrote a line of this code. I never looked at a line of this code. It's like I just continued to improve, the agents surrounding this code until the system was complete, right? And so this is roughly, I haven't pulled it up yet, but this project was roughly 100,000 lines of code, which, if I'm being optimistic about my ability, would have taken me years. But this was 100,000 lines of code. It was done in a day and a half for less than $150, and so I don't know, it's scary, right? Because it's like I make more than $150, but at the same time, I think it's important for us to recognize that like these things are possible, right? And it's like invest our time in, I don't know, it sounds like a cult or something when I say move to the higher level, but it's like I encourage everybody, it's like instead of, we're so used to being in the weeds with writing code by hand, it's like we kind of, yes, have to grieve that and everything, but we also have to leave that behind, right? And so it's like, this to me is kind of the future of programming, right? Because it's building these systems surrounding, your desired outcome that can ensure that. But yeah, it's like if you're familiar with GitHub, you can see just, I forget how many it was, 60 something PRs, but it's opening, PRs on its own, reviewing PRs on its own. And so now, this will be my final demo, I guess.
Call autonomous agent AI on speakerphone.
And so now we're going to cross our fingers as well.
Thanks for calling Autonomous Agent AI. How can I help you today?
Yes, I wanted to make an appointment with Fleming.
I'd be happy to help you schedule an appointment. Just to clarify, what type of service are you looking to book with Fleming? We offer AI integrations and automation, SEO.
And so I won't go through the whole call there, but like that's, this system, right, is like zero, human lines of code, zero human QA, and now it's booking, appointments for me on my calendar. And so yeah, just some fun things I wanted to show off from the last month. I didn't have too much, but if y'all got any questions, I guess I didn't do my biography, but like I've been in tech for 19 years now as like a full stack developer. And kind of relevant here, the first time I was laid off by AI was 2019 when machine learning got my job at a computer like camera security company. And so, it's not the first time for me, which kind of makes me feel a little bit better. It's like, oh, I've been here before, but yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. Y'all have any questions? Go for it.
Yeah, so as a dev who's very creative, are you you said this is a side hustle?
Yes, this is a side hustle, yeah.
Is your main hustle corporate gig or entrepreneurship?
Corporate gig.
Does it, in terms of like up-leveling and experimenting and building your own stuff, how does that affect your taste and hunger for entrepreneurship versus staying corporate?
I would say, it's greatly increased my appetite for entrepreneurship, because it's like, I've always kind of been like the ideas guy, that you kind of hate. And it's like I couldn't execute on this stuff, right? And so now it's like I'm in here just like going at it, right? Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely increased, my entrepreneurial spirit.
Will you share the product you built?
Product, I mean, like a real deal product?
Yeah.
I guess like my 9 to 5 doesn't like use it as much, right? Like they're not like an AI forward type company. And so we're using it behind the scenes kind of secretly, if we're being honest, just because they're not quite there. And so like that's another reason, for the sort of side hustle, right? It's like, oh, I found this stuff infinitely fascinating. And so, yeah, so I mean, I could show you what I do, but it wouldn't really be AI relevant.
Oh no, I guess I meant like your appetite for an idea that you really were hankering to get out. Not to ask you to spill your secrets or anything, but anything
Yeah,
you
I can't
say.
get the good stuff. I mean, I don't know if I have, a better like idea necessarily. Most of our work is around like integrations and things like that. And I will say like this is our primary product is this like network of sites that we use for like various reasons. And so it's like we've monetized, some of this with advertising, we've monetized some of it, selling backlinks and things like that. But it's like we're not necessarily, selling like an AI product per se, although we are doing more like integrations now that it's like catching on, and people are like, oh, this could benefit my business. But it's like, we're running this portfolio of like publishing sites basically, with AI. And so while it's not, AI itself, it's like, that's how it's being run. Anybody else?
Did you live on the Beltline before you moved here?
I did not live on the Beltline. This is very new to have zebra parades or whatever that was out the window. But it's been an experience. I've seen pretty much everything you can imagine out of that window in like 4 months. Like, you wouldn't think it's that crazy. All right, well, anybody else?
What's the thing that you think is the coolest thing that you built with AI? Or the thing that gives you most excitement every time you use it?
It gives me the most excitement every time I use it. I mean, the most exciting thing by far, like to me, is that phone system, right? Because it's like that was kind of the first time I achieved like full autonomy, right? Where it's like I'm, for all intents and purposes, out of this loop now. As far as like other things, this is an interesting. This was a very early, or actually, let's not do that. We'll do this one. I'm used to typing, so that goes. Yeah, so this was a very early thing that we built with AI. Was this like hurricane evacuation zone planner? And so what this does is aggregate data from state level agencies, like hurricane management agencies, and then provides that in a way that people can search for. And so it's like all the content on this site is synthetic, generated content. The design is AI based. This was done using the new like Claude design, if y'all use that. But this was a pretty cool project. It's like it's got an interactive chat bot and things like that to like emergency preparedness type stuff.
With your automation business, do you utilize any like background or foundational software to manage your company, like such as like Ohio or something of its competitive nature?
No. So we don't use anything like that. I will say, pretty much everything we use, I'm trying to think, we've got like SEO software we pay for, and things like that, but otherwise, like we're building all of this stuff kind of rolling our own, like as our needs dictate, because it's like now it's possible, right? And so it's like, we're kind of just building our, exactly what we need.
Even from like a CRM standpoint?
Yes.
Instead of utilizing like Salesforce?
Yes. And see, that's where I kind of think like, Salesforce might be in trouble, right? Because it's like, if people can do that and can like build a product that's more tailored to their needs, and they didn't have to spend, $50 million or whatever, to create that product like Salesforce did. It's like companies that, are starting now and building these products, I think, they're gonna be major disruptors to companies like Salesforce potentially. So that's kind of what I see as being the gold rush. It's like now you can, kind of reinvent things that don't kind of already existed, in the application world, but you can do it so much cheaper and in so much more of a niche way, that there's still a lane for you there.
Meta question for you. What's your goal with this whole series? I know this is the first one, and congratulations and thank you.
I guess the goal, well, first off, like Tim is a big inspiration for this series. I don't think he knows that. But like Tim is the best source of AI information in the world, right? But it's like, it was so much, that it's just like, man, if I didn't have Tim, but it's just like, I bet there's other Tims out there that like know about all kinds of other stuff, right? And so it's just like, I kind of wanted to do it for a while. It's just like as a way to kind of share, what people have been up to recently, because I think it's moving so fast that, it's hard to keep track of. Then two, I think the other big goal is, we don't know how this is going to end necessarily. And so it's like, I think regardless, it's good to build community, right? Like it's cool to, meet y'all and hang out and talk about this stuff. And so, I mean, that's part of it too, is I think, that's kind of the answer to some of this at least. So, yeah.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah, just kind of learn. I mean, if need be, we might start a militia one day. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I just want to get together and see what people are up to. So yeah, hope it's been fun.
What about the compliance aspect and protecting your customers' data and understanding, like you have that automated where it built it? and
That's
keeping-
Ian's job. I will say our clients so far have not, like they're very small businesses, right? And so it's like, it's not much in the way of compliance, to like
I
book
meant-
an appointment or.
Yeah, I meant more your opinion in protecting your clients, like when you did the phone call and they're booking and going through.
Sure. Oh, so like protecting, that information, like in that pipeline, it's like so it is going out, certainly, it's like we're sending that to Opus 4.7 is, what we were talking to there. And so, yes, I mean, that is open, it's like for right now, it's like, Edie was saying, it's like I would not send, some information to that. I think part of the answer, just in my mind, might eventually, be running your own like models, and it's like having your own servers doing inference, and that being kind of the way to provide more privacy. But right now it's like we're not dealing with anything that's dangerous enough that it's like we worry about that too much beyond just standard encryption and things like that when we're storing PII and whatnot. So.
Have you played around at all with open source models yourself?
I played around, yeah, I mean, yeah, don't let her, she will definitely eat those chips. Only briefly, it's like, I still lack the hardware, to like really make it work for my life. And it's kind of hard to get a Mac Studio right now if anybody hasn't tried that. And so, yeah, I mean, I played around with them, it's like the last time, I was really playing around, it was probably like DeepSeek, which is like, there again, it's like you don't necessarily, want to go to your customers and it's like, oh, we've got this, developed, by China. And so, yeah, I played around with them some, but it's definitely time to revisit that. I'll hand it back to Kurt.
Thank you. That is pretty much it, guys. I did want to thank you all for coming out to the first of hopefully many, well, not hopefully, but hopefully many AI meetups. I learned a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed and learned some things as well. Thank you all again for coming out. You're more than welcome to hang out, talk, still eat, drink, yeah, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and see you guys again next time.